It was about 4:15 in the morning. I felt something moving across my bed, and I moved my arm so I could get up to see what it was. And I did something, bit me on the palm, and I looked down, and it was a king brown. It was about 6.5 foot long. But it sort of made my tongue swelled up. As soon as I was bitten, my sister called the flying doctors, and within an hour and a half, 2 hours over here, and that was really good. Yeah, if the Royal Flying Doctor hadn't come to pick me up, I wouldn't be sitting here, I'd be dead.
Most Australians live in heavily populated coastal regions, clustered together in the safety of numbers, with first-class medical help only minutes away. These cities and towns depend on the productivity of hundreds of thousands of Australians living and working in rural and remote areas. And every year, growing numbers of people from these cities travel to the outback. Injury and illness can strike anyone, anytime, anywhere. So what do you do if you find yourself far from high-technology hospitals and specialised medical services? You call the Royal Flying Doctor Service.
Like a lot of city folk, I never thought we'd need the use of the Flying Doctor Service. But on a recent trip out west, I was proven wrong when we rolled a vehicle 4 times between Cobar and Wilcannia. The ambulance came out from Wilcannia and conveyed us to the local hospital. And in the meantime, they'd radioed ahead to the Flying Doctor base in Broken Hill and arranged for an aircraft to come up and evacuate us to the Broken Hill Hospital. We will always be grateful for the work that they did, not only for us, but for all people in the bush, because you never know when they will be there to back you up.
Spreading its wings of care throughout the southeast of Australia is the Royal Flying Doctor Service's southeastern section. Operating across 3 state boundaries is a compassionate and caring team of over 120 professionals who coordinate emergency and medical evacuations, plan and deliver healthcare clinics, and provide remote consultation services.
The Flying Doctor Service started many years ago as a lifeline for the people of the outback, and we still do those emergency flights in times of acute illness or accident. We still do the remote consultations nowadays by telephone and sat phone, but now we're doing general practice type clinics in many outback locations. We care for the people of the land, the man on the isolated gas drilling rig, and the travellers from the cities who have the misfortune of illness or accident during their travels. Wherever you're living, working or travelling, the Flying Doctor Service is here to help in time of need.
To accomplish its vitally important mission, the RFDS team depends on a fleet of 50 fast and reliable aircraft fitted with state-of-the-art medical equipment. Together, the people and planes provide security and certainty in the face of overwhelming isolation that comes with living and working in an unforgiving environment.
The Royal Flying Doctor Service of Australia is legendary in its support of the people who live, work and travel in outback Australia. We are their first and only contact for the provision of emergency services and health services. But as rural Australia becomes remote in health terms, the challenge for us is even greater. However, with your support, we will continue to meet that challenge and provide an essential service to all those who live in rural and remote Australia.
At a place like this, some people will travel 2 hours just to come to me, which means that they might travel, up to 8 hours to get to the next nearest dentist. The best thing about this job probably is that people really appreciate you coming, and they still hate the dentist, they still hate coming in, they're still nervous in the chair, but they're just so grateful to have been able to get something fixed at the end of the day, and I think we're making a bit of a difference there as well, so that's great.
The Royal Flying Doctor Service has grown to become one of Australia's most credible and trustworthy charities. The modern-day RFDS provides practical solutions for a range of critical healthcare issues, including the chronic shortage of general practitioners for people living in remote communities, the shortage of female health professionals, limited or no access to medical specialists, and poor health outcomes for Aboriginal communities. The growing need for the Royal Flying Doctor Service is evident. Each year, the Southeastern Section assists almost 50,000 patients, transports over 11,000 of them, and flies more than 5.5 million kilometres, the equivalent of 7 trips to the moon and back. However, the Flying Doctor Service can't afford to rest on its laurels. It must improve its current range of services and continue to develop new and innovative ways to meet the growing healthcare needs of people who live, work and travel in regional and remote Australia. While people and planes form the backbone of the Royal Flying Doctor Service's Southeastern Section, partnerships give essential lift to its ongoing growth. Many specialist services have been consolidated to large city and regional hospitals. The RFDS has stepped in to fill this gap in partnership with the Greater Western Area Health Service. To address under-recruitment of medical staff in outback areas, the service has formed strong links with Sydney University's regional campuses at Broken Hill and Dubbo, providing training, mentoring and student placements. Another significant partnership is with Murray Ma Aboriginal Health Corporation.
I'm quite excited working for the RFDS. We've of course got our emergency arm, but primary health care, particularly with Indigenous people, has always been a very big interest of the RFDS. We work in collaboration with the local Aboriginal Health Service, Murray Ma. Everybody realises how important it is that we improve care for Indigenous people in Australia, and the RFDS is hopefully contributing to that.
The RFDS is fulfilling its traditional mission with the help of funding from state and Commonwealth governments. But the Southeastern Section relies largely on philanthropy to fund the purchase of new aircraft.
Most little outback hotels run some type of donation system for the RFDS. What we encourage people to do, if they've got a bit of loose change left after they've had a few drinks or a meal, it's a straight out donation to the RFDS and they throw it up in the brolly.
It's unbelievable how generous the travelling public are, because they realise how important it is, because if they have a car accident or anything, within 40 minutes from Broken Hill, you've got a service here.
The RFDS to us out here, it's the lifeblood. Without bore water or RFDS, we don't survive.
Generations ago, the Royal Flying Doctor Service first spread its wings of care across Australia's wide brown lands with primitive radio communication, slow but steady biplanes and basic medical equipment. Today, the service responds in a heartbeat to major emergencies, delivering airborne intensive care in swift turboprop aircraft further and faster than ever before.
Hey, true blue.
The work conducted by the Royal Flying Doctor's dedicated team of healthcare professionals saves many lives each year. But there are no guarantees. Without community support, it will be impossible to keep the service flying. It is a gift of health, well-being and peace of mind to everyone who lives, works and travels in rural and remote Australia. And it will help the world's best aeromedical service deliver on the promise that every Australian is brought up to believe in, the promise that help is on the way.
True blue. Is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a car?